Eyes on that, go for something a little bit crazy. So far, pretty standard bans. The Akali been taken off the board regularly by both of these teams, and the Vi and the Varus very much matching that as well.
AL taking red side first pick this time around, whereas WE will be taking blue side with counter pick. So Cube, if he wants to get his choice in the top lane matchup, this is a chance for him, who both of our top laners have gotten player of the games respectively in their wins this series so far. Now it is the time to be able to show up here where it matters most. But the first pick sets up Breathe to instantly slam the blind Rumble.
Lot of Rumble counters off the board at this point. Rumble game 3 is very strong. It's very difficult to deal with. It's immediately going to be the Lucian Milio slam. Same thing for that Lucian Milio. A lot of the in-lane counters are off the board. Yunara Lulu, the best into this right now, and certainly is a really good counter pick to this. The immediate lock, I think, makes a lot of sense from a comp perspective. However, it's Kael on another enchanter. That's exactly the opposite of what I wanted to see. It's very good, I think, in combination with the Rumble. I certainly don't want to freak out about this or anything, but it certainly looks like both of these teams are going to be setting up to, once again, have some passive, more enchanter-only bot lanes, and with the Ornn lock-in on the top side, we could get a very slow-paced game that's ready for team fights if both of these teams play to their comp.
The other thing I'm going to be curious about for anyone's legend, we've seen a lot of Rumble mids recently. Now, you like the Ornn as a matchup that can eventually build MR and then just scale to kind of diffuse the Rumble matchup in the side lane later on. Early on, it's still going to be Rumble favored, so I'm curious if AL will want to keep this top lane matchup and at least keep the cards hidden for both mid lane and jungle, or if WE are going to try and pull something quite spicy now that they have counterpick for themselves.
I'm taking a look here. It does not look like Shanks has a career game on Rumble. So even when Rumble mid was meta a couple of years ago, it doesn't seem like he was a connoisseur of the pick. It would be his first ever game of it. I would imagine this is going top lane. This is a very comfortable pick for Breathe, who's played it not only a lot this year, but throughout his entire career. Mid lane bans coming through do at least signal to me that we still have to pick our mid jungle duo. Skarner taken off the board again, just more for the team fight comp of AL that they have drafted for themselves. Tarzan, a known tank player, but what that means to me, especially with the Yone ban, is that we could actually see something like the Maokai come out. We've already seen Tarzan start to go back towards some of these tanks. Sejuani has started to pop up in regions like the LEC as well. You know, I think that could absolutely be on the board for AL here.
I definitely would favor more of a Sejuani rather than a Maokai, but also the problem is Milio would get so much value into either of those tank junglers as well. The Impale from the Skarner still scary, so that's why they kind of ban it away from anyone's legend, but I imagine that with already a ton of magic damage kind of being splashed into Yunara's kit, and Rumble being a magic damage heavy champion, anyone's legend more than likely is picking some kind of AD physical damage based champion for Tarzan and something magic damage for Shanks. And Annie coming in for Karis means that Monki is being set up to carry for his final pick.
Yeah, we are getting some sort of aggressive carry in the back end. I think Lee Sin is honestly what WE want to pick here. We'll see if AL want to take that away. It wouldn't necessarily fit the identity for what they've drafted so far, but Lee Sin in general is just really good. Like, you want to talk about a champion that has playmaking instincts. Lee Sin, well, maybe not fitting the team fight comp that they've drafted, will have some playmaking in the early game, and if you draft a more aggressive mid laner here that can pair up, you know, with the Lee Sin, you know, perhaps a Silas or something like that, if you wanted to go that direction, you know, you would have quite a bit of tempo in the early game as well. So definitely kind of a gauntlet being thrown down here to make sure Monki doesn't get that champion.
I wonder if Galio is okay here. Yeah, already Shanks is thinking about it. Could neutralize a lot of the damage that Karis would bring, and it would mean that if you're trying to attack the Galio as Monki, you probably best look somewhere else. Now, Annie is not a sufficient amount of magic damage where if you pick an AP damage-based jungler, I would not mind it. In fact, I would be a big fan. Monki hovering Lilia? Curious? That's not what was on my mind.
Yeah, this makes more sense to me. Yeah, I think Poppy just looks so good into the comp on the other side. From my perspective, like, I understand that we maybe want some sort of carry and we're lacking a lot of damage, but this Lee Sin is completely shut down in the early game. There's nothing that this guy can do right now, and the damage profile, if you can get About online, About already showed his ability to play. I mean, they're going to have some chances, I think, to shut this through. That damage is going to be a problem in the back end, but unfortunately, Monki Poppy has completely killed my play-by-play, so it looks like, at the very least, Monki will be getting a free 1-0-0 start into this game.
Listen. Poppy makes sense into Lee Sin, Yanara, and Galio, but the Annie mid was right there. And we were like, oh my god, we're gonna get Monki carry jungle, and it's just Poppy, bro. I'm depressed. Whatever. You know, if Monki can somehow be a carry with Poppy, good for you. But Kman, lead us into game 3. I'm in a weird position in my chair at the moment, so I need to recollect myself.
Yeah, okay, it's very, very clear. Poppy, Annie, Lucian, Milio, you gotta win the early game. We talked about this a bit before for WE. This is a team that loves to snowball out of control. AL also love to win the early game. WE want to go backwards in the late game if they can get that gold, protect their Lucian. They have enough damage to break through in these team fights. We'll see if they can control it as we head into game number 3.
Beautiful job, by the way, Kman. Great intro. That was just excellent. Swift, and
thank you so much.
The job done. Yeah.
I've had a lot of experience learning from some of the fantastic play-by-plays here at LPL English. Very lucky to get to cast with them every time I'm out here, and certainly I think that will be the case, Raafaa, with game number 3 here and your hatred for Monki Poppy.
It's not that I hate it. I'm just disappointed that it's not something spicier. But if WE want to win and this is the path to victory, good for them, man. You know what? Maybe Monki can satisfy both worlds by going like Umbral Glaive first. That probably is too atrocious though, and
I was not expecting Umbral Glaive to be the shout. I think specifically.
You know, just a little lethality. Get the juices flowing. You know, just get a bit of that adrenaline going. Make me really be on the edge of my seat. But more than likely, Poppy's in the passive Rush Sundered Sky. Sundered Sky did get nerfed this patch, though, so I'm curious if a Black Cleaver Rush might be better for Poppies in this day and age. Meanwhile, Monki has cleared his entire red side jungle, looking for a preemptive dive/invade on the bottom side of the map, but that ward in the Tribush scouts it out. And Tarzan has plenty of time to be able to answer, who is back from his 3 camp clear from the red side and has an extra long sword to boot.
Yeah, it's not a game number 3 with Monki if he doesn't try to invade on blue. This could be a 3v3.
Tarzan can't do anything about it. He has to concede the blue buff as his bot lane does not have push early on.
Really well done here by Monki. This is how you utilize the pressure of Poppy. No need to fight. You can just out-tempo the enemy jungler. Lee Sin was what they were setting up for, but they understood, hey, if you want to go Lee Sin, we're just going to camp your bot lane. Monki wrapping around.
Can he find the heroic char- Oh, we got baited. The observers led us to believe a certain action was about to happen, and I think Hope and Kael sniffed it out as well. It's like, something's around the bush, and they look back. It's like, wait, where'd he go? Monki's like, psych. I don't want to do that anymore.
If I can't see Monki on my screen, I'm just assuming he is about to make the most aggressive play he can make at any given time. That's just kind of the default state that I'm in. He's going to take Crab and make his way up to the top side. Lee Sin is in a very bad spot because Karis is going to have the roam here. That's double Crab for Monki on this Poppy. I don't believe that they're going to be able to contest this, but we will see how aggressive AL want to play it.
However, Karis is completely disconnected from Monki. He just got left alone for a Crab.
Oh.
Bro sold out his homie for an amphibian. Actually, it's a crustacean, but Monki might be dead for this too. He forced a flash away from Tarzan at the very last second, but that feels bad.
Raafaa, this is something that we've seen so regularly this series. Monki and Karis are just not on the same page. Karis trying to zone out the Galio from trying to get into that play, but ultimately, you know, just standing in a position where it's 2v1, Monki committing to the Crab is perfectly fine there, but your Annie has to be in the area as well, because if they do collapse, you at least want to be in the zone for Poppy to be able to, I don't know, press W and stop a lot of the engages. There just isn't a lot of proper positioning and proper setup here. It's a free kill for Shanks, who is going to be pretty important in this game if you can start to open up things in the side lane with the Galio ultimate. That could really matter a lot in the mid game. Ooh, big trade on the bot side.
At the very least for WE, About and Erha are putting to good use the power of this Lucian Emilio bot lane for the laning phase. And as you called out fairly, Hope and Kael going for a laning 2v2 duo, one that is going to scale, does not play to the strengths of what we normally see from anyone's legend, especially if we have this split.
Ooh,
and now Monki is looking for a Hex Flash dive. Doesn't quite snag Hope onto the wall for the stun, but he gets the job done anyway. And poor Kael could do nothing to save his AD carry.
This is how you use Lucian Milio. I've seen so many bot lane duos just play really passive, really just get this big CS lead and not go for any dives. You want to try and get this Yunara as low as possible early on. It's very well done here by Monki, who I think has had a very good early game outside of that crab play. You have to keep the pressure up, though. This Lee Sin needs to stay on the back foot if AL has time to be able to equalize on these plays around the map. Any gold into the pockets of champions like Breathe might actually, be a big problem for WE moving forward. So for now, pretty even game state, but both teams definitely looking aggressive.
So far, the gold lead is still somewhat even, as a majority of WE's advantage has come through purely the bot lane, whereas anyone's legend are still finding somewhat decent CS advantages through top lane as well as jungle. But Monki playing Poppy, this is never going to be a jungler that really is prioritizing their farm over just the plays that they can make on the map and the ability to stop plays from happening thanks to the power of that steadfast presence early on. And now Karis has snuck through the bottom side of the map. They're going to look for another attack on the Hope without Flash. He's spotted, but it's a Flash Mega Fireball kick from Erha to slow Hope down. Flash from Karis, and before the hero's entrance even comes through, the AD carry falls yet again. Tarzan trying to answer, but Monki zones him off. Shanks now caught in the crossfire. He could be in trouble, forced to flash away. The damage and the rallying of WE is forcing AL to bend their will to the power of WE's.
It's incredibly well done by Karis to stay out of vision on his way down, but that's the Poppy value. When you take a look, hopefully we get a replay of that fight. Poppy spends the entire exchange just stoning Lee Sin away. Tarzan gonna kick Karis, but there's no follow-up yet.
Oh boy, and Shanks can't get to his jungler just in time, but Kael's got his jungler with a Flash Fairy Pick Shield. But Shanks is gonna have to pay the price. One more auto attack. Oh, but another Pick Shield from Kael saves both his jungler and his mid laner on back-to-back casts.
Incredible Lulu value there as Monki is going to make his way up and zone out Tarzan even more from some of these, Raptors that he's going to be able to take away. I want to know, Monki's not even level 6 for any of this, but that's what we talk about when we talk about Poppy value, is you're getting a lot of these skirmishes between junglers. Lee Sin, with the level 6 advantage, still can't go in because Poppy zones him completely out of the fight. That is the draft gap that you get for picking this champion, and Monki utilizing it great. Karis is on fire in this early game. Outside of course, that roam to the crab, everything's kind of gone the way of the jungle mid duo for WE, and they've got a very small lead to, I guess, benefit from it. A lot of that being on their primary damage dealer and About.
Unfortunately, Karis should have known that when a crab is on the menu, nothing else matters. The peripheral vision just shrinks down to only what is in front of you at that time. So Karis' fate was sealed from the moment Monki stepped into the river. But for WE, as you called out, they have done a great job at constantly attacking the bot side of the map. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't normally check Twitch chat that often, but I was curious to see how many people were gonna call me out on me calling a crab an amphibian and not correcting it to a crustacean earlier. But something funny I saw, I just have to mention because it's just so hilarious to me. WE putting Hope behind is a bad strategy, quote-unquote, because Hope doesn't do damage anyway, which, that is just disrespectful, but
that's crazy.
That
I think
made
this guy's
me
like
chuckle.
top 2 in the league in DPM, like not of 80 carries. I think he might be like top 2 in the LPL in DPM this split. Certainly pretty high up there in terms of the stats. Talked about that before. Kael a big part of that, but Monki a little bit all alone in the enemy jungle right now. Could be getting collapsed upon.
He's got to shift through bot side. Keeper's Verdict will punt away one threat, and Tarzan immediately backs up, and now Kael recognizes, hey, wait a minute, I could be in trouble here. So now he gives space back over to Monki as Shanks decides, I need to catch this mid wave. He doesn't want to lose too much. Monki still trying to pressure for this Gromp. Tarzan misses the Sonic Wave. Immediately slammed into the wall. Karis is coming around the corner. Stuns him. Follows up with enough damage, but not nearly enough to finish him off. Now About is on the aggressive, trying to force Hope back into his side of the jungle. Pinned up against the wall. Slammed and dunked by Monki's Poppy. Anyone's Legend continuing to lose out on the early aggressive skirmishes.
I am so impressed by WE so far this game. You cannot possibly play this game better from a macro perspective. They have done everything that they've needed to do. They have overloaded onto the bottom side. They have consistently invaded, and every single time that AL look like they're trying to push away, they recognize it doesn't matter if Tarzan makes his way in. We have a Poppy that can shut this down. Yes, I'm a little bit scared about the late game from AL because it's Yunara and it's Rumble, but don't let them get there. Just continuously keep them fighting. AL's gonna have to maybe settle for some grubs on the top side. They should be able to pick up all of these, or at the very least most of these. Dragon is still on the map. It's been very lowly prioritized over the course of this series, and that will continue, but we've got a 1,000 gold lead on an Essence Reaver Lucian at 10 minutes. This is looking pretty good for WE.
This is the best early game look we've seen from them all series long as well.
Yeah.
Definitely the most convincing one, and for anyone's Legend, they are struggling to try and reclaim control of momentum going forward from here on. Tarzan will be able to clean up the other two grubs. It looks like Monki was able to swiftly smite away one before returning to his camps and making sure that he's not falling too far behind in terms of overall gold and experience, which right now he's about just slightly behind Tarzan in the level department. But as you called out, Kman, I mean, Poppy has been doing their job at just being able to find moments to accelerate the players that need to be accelerated, aka About's Lucian. And all AL can try and do is find a way to stop the acceleration from happening and get some leverage to stabilize their bot lane so that Hope can actually be a factor in the later stages of the game.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, Hope is 0 and 3. He's done basically nothing wrong this game. Like, he's just kind of existed on the Yunara, and just a lot of pressure has been put onto the bottom side by Monki. Tarzan has literally nothing he can do as the Lee Sin early on here. This is the part of the game where he gets a little stronger. Monki might have caught him out.
Shanks trying to lock up Karis and distract him from being able to gap close onto Tarzan while Monki fights his own 1v1. It forces the Tibbers out of Karis just in case Shanks had lethal on him, so that's a good ult expended by Karis, thanks to Shanks being able to force it out of him. Erha!
Nice.
Gotta be careful about stepping up to Hope that close like that.
Yeah, really, really good job from AL's bot lane to be able to get the flash out of Milio. That's a summoner that they really should have no business being able to play for, with jungle being on the bottom side here for WE. Still, AL just have no tempo, no pressure. It's Essence Reaver staring down no completed item from the Yunara on the other side, so it's kind of a nightmare situation to have to play through if you're Hope. You're just going to try and get into a side lane and try to scale up as much as you can. Still no dragon taken from either side. It looks like Monki might be starting it soon, but he's on grab right now. It's 12 minutes into the game. I don't think we're going to be getting too much soul priority in this one, Raafaa.
We haven't really had the most expeditious dragon takes this entire series. Monki, meanwhile, getting ready to Hex Flash over the wall yet again, but doesn't look for a wall slam as Hope immediately pops the ultimate and fires away at the minion wave.
X-Flash for ult seems pretty good. I think overall, if you are Monki, just surviving there. He also gets a little bit of tower plate gold, which I think is definitely going to be a small bonus for him. I will say credit to AL for at least not exacerbating this lead. This is a part of a game where WE is obviously significantly stronger, where someone like Tarzan is going to be much weaker in terms of his combat power because Poppy has so much priority. Is Dragon going to be started up? AL is in the area. I can't imagine they want to contest this, but maybe they do.
Yeah, Erha can't be the only one contesting that brush. Nice Keeper's Verdict from Monki, punts away Shanks. Now Tarzan has to give space over to WE before About tries to gun him down. The culling finally tanked by Shanks, but Monki still finds another hammer smash on the ground. Shanks finds the Justice Punch into a flash taunt onto two members, but can anyone follow up? No one can get in range. Breathe teleported in, and he tried to flash in with a Flame Spitter. Full jets ablazing, and just still not enough heat in the tank to burn WE down.
AL, I mean, they just collapse on a play they have no business being at, and you get to free fire on this Lee Sin to take him down incredibly quickly. I think Tarzan just overestimated the amount of time he could survive in that exchange, and they get punished massive lead for it. Now, not only is About incredibly far ahead, but Monki is in a great spot on the Poppy. The Galio goes in to try to get the taunt off, but yeah, you still got Poppy ultimate, and Tarzan's completely disconnected from the rest of his team. Look at About's damage in this. He's just perfectly landing everything. The culling comes out. And yeah, Galio's there to block some of that damage, but Monki's able to clean it up pretty easily. About is in a bit of danger. The equalizer lands, and the knockup comes through, but About flashes over the wall to his support, notably to Erha. It's really well done by Shanks, but Galio doesn't have the damage to take over in this fight. About comes very close to dying, but anti-shield and Erha being there as well. If this Lucian's able to hit, they're going to be able to win. This bot lane has been very in favor of WE throughout this game so far.
And just like that, the very small gold lead that W had has exploded into a sizable 2.5k gold advantage, with About maintaining a majority of that in his stead. And yet, funnily enough, it's Monki that has the highest gold bounty in the game at this point, now racking up 3 kills to his name on the Poppy. A little disappointed, buddy, though. There is no Umbral Glaive, no full take Cycle Sword, no lethality. I really wanted to see a full damage Poppy, but you know what? Monki said it's time to just put the Poppy fries in the bag and win this series. So let's see if WE can continue that momentum, whereas AL have a lot of questions to answer in trying to make a comeback.
And the problem is their comp is just so bad into what WE drafted. I know you hated the Poppy, but like, dude, how do you come back from down 2,500 gold into Poppy? Tarzan's gonna look onto About, but he's got the dash over the wall. He'll have to sacrifice some resources here, but a TP's coming through. They want to punch.
Oh boy. Oh, this cube angle is gonna be so juicy. The call of the Forge God.
Oh,
lands a knockup onto one. A little too excited on that one, but there's still a flank in the makings. Monki is gonna now take the Rift Herald for a joyride. Hero entrance from Shanks into a 2-man knockup from Monki with the Rift Herald. Cube is able to finally burst out Tarzan's Lee Sin, but the rest of WE took a lot of damage into trying to force that play. I think WE are going to be quite thankful that they didn't drop a single member there.
I mean, they're going to feel lucky, but ultimately, like, that's the gold difference that they generated for themselves. The reason they're able to make that play happen and the reason that their separation doesn't end up getting punished is because they are so fed, because About is able to survive with double items with that rapid fire cannon, and because Monki is so tanky at this point in the game. Cube has his Canic Rooker as well to make sure Rumble is not as much of a problem. This is the gold lead coming into play. It's a very aggressive look. I especially think that the Battle Herald is an aggressive drop here from Monki, but ultimately this is a double-pronged fight. Tarzan does a great job to engage onto About. Once the exhaust goes down, I absolutely believe the solution is dead, but Hope, he doesn't have the damage, he doesn't get that extra auto off. Great job by Karis to be able to stun up the Unara and the Lee Sin, and to really peel that off. At this point, there's no more damage coming through. Cube is pretty close to dying, but Ornn, you know, he's gotten to that point where he's a little bit tough to kill. So, again, we can call it luck all we want. Ultimately, that is the gold difference coming into play.
It definitely could have swung the gold lead back into AL's favor if they are just able to get extra bit of damage onto any of those low health members, but WE still able to maintain this gold advantage. And now with About and Erha taking up posts in the mid lane, they can use this Lucian to its strengths. Just being able to fire the culling on cooldown whenever they want to be able to set up for an objective push. The rapid fire cannon is not something I was expecting out of the Lucian second item. Normally it's that flicker blades, but yeah. I'm assuming this is about responding to a lot of the melee threats that AL have on their side, or maybe just his ability to safely step up to the turret and try and chip away on every wave push, question mark?
I think it's about recognizing that, like, he's looking at his team and he's looking at AL's team and he's like, Lee Sin can literally only go on me. Like, I am the only target that he has this game. There's no one else that he can even attempt to try and kill or kick. And if my job is to just survive Lucian, I can do that. Like, he's going to have enough gold and enough damage because of his lead over Hope that he's probably going to get to third item before Hope even gets to 2.5. And so, you know, it's definitely going to be a bit of a gold lead. He probably recognizes his damage is going to come through eventually. And right now, his primary goal is that survivability. So, see how he utilizes that 1.5k gold lead. Cloud Drake has spawned. Monki is going to be taking it, and AL are going to be watching along as they just hope to protect their mid lane as that dragon is going to go down.
I am curious, how much range do you have as Lucian when you both have rapid fire, cannon proc, and campfire? I don't know the numbers on that.
I don't know the exact number. All I know is that it feels good. It certainly is. It certainly
the
feels
dopamine
good.
recessors definitely are excited when it happens. Fair enough.
Definitely.
The culling comes out. Hope damaged quite heavily. And bang, another proc onto the turret.
I gotta say, I think there's gonna be a lot of talk about AL in this game number 3, especially if this is just a snowball for WE. I don't really think AL have done anything egregiously bad other than that fight around Drake first Drake, which I think was completely unnecessary. Outside of that, like, Tarzan went for some plays early, but like, what is he supposed to do on Lee Sin into Poppy? It's literally unplayable. Same thing for Hope, who's 0 and 3. Just got dove under tower twice, and there's literally no way to play the game. At this point, Monki can just run the jungle, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's just pressuring out all of them. Cube is here.
Oh, great collapse onto Breathe in the top side. Forces the flash out of the Rumble. But WE can easily take consolation prizes in a red buff, maybe more camps, as Tarzan and the rest of AL are forced out of their jungle.
I mean, there's nothing to fight over. It's what we've been talking about. Like, WE just did so well for themselves, I think, in the draft phase to identify exactly where the power points of the map were going to be. And again, you can criticize these players, you can criticize the decision to fight around that dragon, but ultimately, I don't think Tarzan or Hope have screwed up all that much. This is a masterclass from a WE team that just seems to have had AL's number over the course of this split. WE always seems to find their best form the closer we get to playoffs, and yes, you can talk about that upset that they suffered to EDG at the beginning of the week. We know that this team can step up in some big moments, and this has been a great example of that. A phenomenal performance from About across this series and from Monki as well.
The fact that WE were able to so convincingly defeat AL in split 2 playoffs in the upper bracket, not to mention. It goes to show that WE has shown some of their highest ceilings as an organization in quite some time, as well as with this roster. So it was definitely the highest placing they had ever gotten. WE are poised to try and put their best foot forward in this upcoming playoffs. It does start with another win in this series against Anyone's Legend, who is a favorite going into playoffs, and one that was poised to make top 2. But WE could play spoiler if they end this series. Now Breathe, trying to look for a TP out. They'll get it done.
Yeah. Classic TP moment from the Rumble. Just happy to trade that for any sort of pressure for now. I mean, Baron is on the map. WE can pressure it out. Tarzan's in danger.
He yoinked the Raptor camp away. Oh, just to add insult to injury here. Monki.
This guy's positioning. He is so fearless. Like, what does this Poppy have to fear on the map right now? I'm genuinely asking you, Raafaa. You know, you're the resident jungler of the group. If you're Poppy in this game, what are you scared of? Because I don't even know at this point. This champion is just in such a good spot. Deadman's has been completed as well, so that movement speed's going to be coming through. Monki is just in such a dominant position with the way that the map is broken down. Dragon spawning in a minute and a half. I imagine they're going to be setting a lot of their vision up, but I mean, look at the map. They've already got vision on the bottom side of the map. They've already done a great job to be able to establish that priority. They just control everything. There's really no way for AL to walk into them right now.
The only thing that Poppy can really be scared of at this point is just herself, which is going way too deep and letting the dopamine control your mouse and clicking too far forward until you realize, hey, wait, my team's in Narnia and I'm in their base when they still have tier 2 towers up. I may have...
Raafaa, surely Monki would never let the dopamine take over. That would never happen.
Fiercely knocking on wood right now. The WE fans will not send a device to your mailbox tomorrow morning if they somehow throw this game, Kman. Just...
I think I see some trucks outside my window. I'm not really sure what that's about, but we'll address that later. For now, Tarzan going in.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Tarzan tried to look for a kick flash, but Karis preemptively flashing away completely denies the star jungler a chance to make a play. Just in time for the dragon to spawn, and Tarzan losing both his flash and a significant amount of HP.
Look, again, I think people are going to clown on Tarzan for that. You got to look for something. That looked like a good play, but now WE are on the collapse.
Call the Forge God. How many will it hit? Knocks up Shanks, and the culling will deplete his health bar to 50%. Monki will not commit to the Keeper's Verdict, but they have done enough to at least make Anyone's Legend very scared about trying to face check this. But somehow Tarzan made it back in time to respawn and has full HP. This will be the third dragon of the game. Can Tarzan find a miracle in this one? Oh, Cube, nice two-man knock-up off of the Brittle. Equalizer comes out from Breathe. The rest of the front line from WE trying to step on forward and continue garnering space. Tarzan goes in! It's Karis that secures it. Tarzan barely just not able to steal it away. And about finds the first casualty in the fight. Shanks will fall first. It's Tarzan next. And the rest of WE will waste away any hopes that the Pandas had in finding success in this series. Yet again, WE are on the victory march with a 6K gold lead.
WE dominate the fight. They pick up the triple kill for their AD carry, and they are marching their way to the Baron as well. If there was a dagger, that was it. I mean, it's a miracle shot for AL. They're trying their best to get themselves back into this game. It looks a little bit silly. Ultimately, you gotta try something. Even if the play isn't particularly good, if you're down 4,000 gold and you're out-pumped, you have to look for some sort of play. Galio has that Lulu ultimate on top of him early on in this fight, but they have no damage. Hope is trying to pump at the end of this fight from the backline, but he just can't do anything. He's way too far down in gold. I actually don't even think his positioning is all that bad. It comes down to, I would say, a 50-50, but somehow Karis is the one who ends up picking it up here. And at that point, especially having the Dragon, About is able to free fire the entire time on the backline. What a series for About so far. He has been unbelievable on the solution in this game. He was great on the Corki in game 2. You know, we're going to give a lot of praise to players like Monki and even somebody like Karis, who I think has played well. About, I think, has been a true standout player for WE in this series, and he's contributed heavily to their 6.4K gold lead.
Unfortunately, Kman, I think the only takeaway that people are going to have is that Hope needs to be replaced. Even though we explicitly stated it was WE's mission to make this guy irrelevant this game, and they did so successfully. Indeed. What is Hope supposed to do?
Yeah, you could put the perfect League player on Yunara this game. I don't think they're doing better than 0-3 in that early game with how much pressure was put onto Hope. That being said, that's to the credit of WE, recognizing the win condition of anyone's legend and saying, hey, we know this player is going to be susceptible under tower. Let's keep diving him. At this point, AL have to look for some of these miracle plays. If Tarzan can find a backline member, they can still, you know, potentially get a pick, but it's going to have to be some sort of miracle fight. Cube is the target.
It's a big tanky Ornn. Not sure how much mileage they're going to get out of being able to take him down. Still has... Actually, he doesn't have flash, so they might be able to get him eventually, but a TP's coming in, and the collapse is fast from the side of WE. Tarzan and Shanks just did not have enough damage to take out Cube before the rest of WE could get there, and Shanks ends up paying the price for the attempt.
And that might actually just be the whole game. It's an 8K gold lead. They're TPing in. They want to try and take this entire base. Everybody is still alive, and they didn't even really burn that many cooldowns. They still have Annie-ultimate. They still have Lucian ultimate available. They're at least going to take this inhibitor to see if they want to push for more.
The first inhibitor falls. WE with the Baron buff on their side are definitely thinking about pushing this one to a close. Nexus turret 1 falls. Monki with the Keeper's Verdict will at least keep AL at a distance. They can chip away at the second inhibitor while working their way towards the second Nexus turret. Tarzan is trying to find a flank of his life, but he's constantly scattered out by all the vision, and Monki is just playing bodyguard. He will not allow Tarzan into the club, and he's definitely going to be crying outside of the club afterwards. Rest of anyone's legend trying to find a Hail Mary. It's a kick onto About. Can anyone follow up? The Hero's entrance is going to find the knockup, and Lucian is finally slain by Hope. He has to go nuclear if they want to keep their chances alive. Keeper's Verdict punts him back to the fountain, and the rest of WE can continue with the damage. Monki is a carry jungler after all, even on the likes of Poppy. But Hope has enough damage to threaten WE's lives, and for now, they will survive.
Somehow, someway, AL will live another fight, and it doesn't look clean, it doesn't look good, but ultimately the game moves on. Monki has been unreal in this game, just an absolute masterclass from him on the Poppy. Please vote for All Pro. If you are not in the Discord, I know that some people in Twitch chat have some pretty passionate opinions, and you get the chance to express it, and I'm expressing my opinion right now by saying Monki has been unreal in this game. He has been fantastic on the Poppy. You talked about that carry jungler, you know, wanting to come through. Well, he's playing a carry with this Poppy. truly, what is Tarzan supposed to do? I'm watching this Lee Sin get zoned out of every single fight because the dash can't come in and because he does no damage to that champion. Dragon spawning in 15 seconds. WE has full control over this area. This is Hextech Soul. That is the game. I mean, it's already in a really bad spot, but I mean, Tarzan has to try to find a way to steal this one.
Hey! Monkey's building lethality. All right. Approved. I'm a fan. Monkey has enough tank stats at this point that anyone that tries to fight him with the massive wallet gap he has, they just cannot overcome the base damage over time. And Karis is on a flank of his own. That control ward is going to scout him out, so Tarzan has a chance to try and punt him away. But Cube on the forefront, just being able to launch a knockup onto Hope in melee range, and Karis from out of nowhere flies in with the flash stun and ends AL's last hope. WE in dominating fashion will surprise anyone's legend with a Game 3 victory and a 2-1 win.
WE peaking at the right time as Monki goes toe-to-toe with his jungle counterpart. He will take him down. WE will destroy AL, and they will take this massive series at the end of their regular season. Incredible stuff from this team. You could not possibly ask for more from WE. Talk about AL all you want. Talk about the ways that they misplayed in the early game, that they didn't execute well in terms of their pathing. This was WE's game. They controlled it. Every play that they made was theirs to make. They weren't waiting for AL to screw up. They weren't waiting for AL to overstep or make some sort of decision. They made every call, they engaged every fight, and they won every fight this game. Masterclass from WE, really showing that, once again, playoffs are coming around and this team might be finding their form.
3 big wins in this WE series alone. First, it's their first series win inside the W home arena. Second, they are able to make a comeback against anyone's legend off of the Game 1 win. And a very, very distraught early jungle game state from Monki in Game 2. And 3, I forgot. I'm not gonna lie. I had it all in my head. I was rolling with the
confidence. I was so bought in. I was ready. I was on the edge of my seat.
I could not fake it anymore. I was like, what was I gonna say?
Oh man.
What was it?
We've all had some moments where we're like, God, yeah, like, just so I'm impassioned. I feel so good about all this. I'm with you. I'm speechless.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. Whenever Monki plays on these stage games, we have said it before, that Monki literally plays to the level of his competition. Sometimes that means when they're playing against a team that they're expected to defeat easily, they play like bums, I'm not gonna lie. But when Monki finds himself up against the likes of Shun or even Tarzan, the beast is unleashed, and we now have a reflected standings where WE gets another series win in their record book for the entire split. I'm not sure where this exactly poises them. I guess it now has them definitively over JDG for now in that 4th seed contention. And for anyone's legend, they are now praying that BLG can decisively sweep Top Esports in our next series 2-0, so that anyone's legend still has a chance to secure a top 2 seed later in the week.
I mean, that's the thing. We talked about it earlier this week in their matchup against Top Esports. That was likely a matchup for top 2 because both of these teams were expected to be able to clean up their series at the end of the week. AL losing yet another series here. I mean, this puts them in a really bad spot to get that bye going into round number 2. You know, being one of those top 2 seeds is just so relevant for WE when it comes to their playoff hopes. Honestly, they've had a date with destiny with JDG in the first round for quite a while. They're playing for side select in that 4 versus 5 matchup really at this point. Mostly for WE, it's building as much confidence as they can possibly get. And you want to talk about a confidence building win, just completely outplaying the likely MVP of the split in Tarzan and really just, you know, showing up against a team that has proven themselves to be one of the best in the league here in the final week. That's exactly what you wanted to see from them.
Not gonna lie, definitely hard for maybe some fans to look at and not take recency bias into super strong contention for MVP contention going forward, because that was a tough look for Tarzan in the second game and third game. But I think you're going to at least mention for game 3, draft diff.
Well, what's this guy supposed to do, Raafaa?
Yeah,
no, this
you're
guy's
right.
playing Lee Sin into Poppy, and he's getting invaded at level 2, and his bot lane's losing, his mid lane's losing, his jungle's consistently getting invaded. He has no pressure anywhere on the map. This game is completely unplayable. Like, there's no jungler in the world who gets to play this game. Like, I firmly believe that. Like, you know, call me biased or whatever, but like, I don't know, man. Also, you know, for sure, Tarzan can have some bad games every once in a while. I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, bad games don't exist. My counterpoint to that would be find a player in the LPL this split who hasn't had at least a couple of bad games every once in a while. Even Knight, I think, has had a lot more in split 3 than he did in split 1 and split 2. So, you know, definitely, you know, just a conversation. Everybody is entitled to, you know, their own feelings, their own opinions. I think I am obviously taking this into account when I think about my MVP race. It's certainly not done and dusted, but I don't think this series is enough for me to go like, oh, Tarzan's clearly a fraud. I mean, this is just one of those series that ends up happening every once in a while where you just don't really have a lot of opportunity to play.
All right, Knight fans, this is your moment. Take that small clip where Kman says, Tarzan is clearly a fraud. Clip that out of context and then just shift it for your Knight propaganda. Bam.
That's it. I mean, hey, wouldn't be the first time that I have been clipped saying some things this year. Shout out to a play-by-play caster who might be coming in very shortly, and one Mr. Grapes with a fantastic Ninjas in Pajamas edit that I might have had at the beginning of the year. But
yes,
you know, maybe
that was glorious.
Work out for me. Yeah.
The fact that even NIP's official Twitter account came after you as well was so awesome. I loved that they had smoke for you, but it's all in good fun. And we love it when the teams prove us wrong, because then that means that they had growth, and we are always looking for growth here in the LPL. Player of the match contention. First, let's talk about player of the game. I think you already said that About is high on your list, not only for the Lucian game, but probably just the most consistent across the board. Would we have to look back at game 1 and determine whether About was also good in that one? Because he was playing what into
It was the Ezreal game in game number 1. So he was okay in that first game. Didn't really have a lot of chances, I think, to pilot that comp all that well. I made a joke in that game about him being half health 100% of the time. So just kind of a tough game overall for him. But I think that Corki was super relevant in game 2. I think the Lucian having such a big lead in game 3 is what kind of made this comp work out. If Monki gets player of the game, you can't really be upset by that. I mean, this guy completely ran the map. It should go to Monki or About, though. Both of them were phenomenal in this one.
Yeah. Now, what happens, Kman, if we get a cube player of the match?
You know what? If we get a cube player of the match, I'm going to start some conspiracy theories that the LPL's like, we got to start pumping up some top laners so that we have people we can put on All-Pro. Like, we gotta inflate some of these player of the game stats so that it looks okay.
Outside of Zwayon, they're like, no one else looks that impressive, you know? It would make sense for a lot of the previous series I've seen where, like, there was one AL series where I think Tarzan or Shanks or even Kael was like a clear standout player of the game. And they're like, breathe. That's our guy. And we're like, huh. I mean, yeah, he was okay. He was solid, but I wouldn't have given it to him, you know. I like where your head's at, Kman. It's a good conspiracy theory.
Well, you know, sometimes you just got to make sure that you've got some good targets to vote for with All-Pro. All-Pro, of course, coming up around, so... very excited to see how things break down there. Again, I think that there are some players in this series that certainly have some arguments. You know, it's funny, because I do think there's going to be, like, Tarzan and Monki discourse because of this series. Tarzan had a bad one, and I think that's very clear. I want to remind people, WE 2-0'd this team the last time they played, and, you know, I may give out a player of the series, dud of the series, on my own personal YouTube channel every series. Monki won that series and still got my dud of the series. There have been some bad Monki games this split as well. Like, if you want to talk about inconsistency, welcome to the LPL. That's what makes this fun, right? Is that you've just got so many players that are willing to throw stuff at the wall. When it works, it looks great. When it doesn't, it looks pretty bad. For WE, I'm just excited that it looked good here today. And honestly, this day has been really fun. We had an EDG 2-0 to kick us off, and now a 2-1 for WE. It's been a fun one.
So now... BLG Top Esports being the next series, which will be casted by the wonderful Grapes and Quacks. Curious if we're going to continue down the route of topsy-turvy results, where things are going the opposite the way we would expect them. Now, does that mean Top Esports 2-0 BLG? Because last time they met, that was the result. It was Top Esports 2-0 victory over BLG. So then would it make BLG winning the unexpected result?
That is the question, right? Like, that's what I was going to ask you is, like, who's the upset there? Because right now, obviously, BLG's expected to be the best team, but they did lose to Top Esports last time they played, and generally their matchup against TES, while I think it's very good, is very reliant on Knight being significantly better than Cream, which makes it, I think, very fun. Very excited to see that matchup. We've got an awesome crew of people for that one. Very excited to see Grapes and Quacks, you know, kind of tackle that one. Couldn't ask for a better duo in terms of it. And you know what? This could determine a lot. If one of those teams pulls out a dominant 2-0 victory, especially if it's TES, that might really lock our top two, or at least make it a lot clearer where these standings might lie going into the back couple days.
Player of the game goes to Monki. Player of the match. Drum roll, please.
I think we're waiting a little bit. Hey, you know, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're getting word we're not getting this anytime soon. So all I'll say now is ethical player of the game. Pretty good one. I like this better than the Cube selection in game number 2. I do want to put it out there. If About doesn't get any recognition for this series, I'm going to get really upset. Because this guy played incredibly well today. Was a huge part of the game plan. Monki spent a ton of time on the bottom side to get him fed, and he paid that back out and then some.
I just heard an O from our producer. Did this mean we missed the player of the match? Or what's, I guess,
7 of 8 for player of the game, it would seem, for Monki.
So check this out, guys. 7 of the 8 votes were for Monki, obviously. The 1 vote that was for About was from the League of Legends helper tool, aka the AI. This is a dark timeline.
Oh my god! They did it! Yes! Let's go! That's my top laner. That's my top laner picking up player of the series.
Screw this!
That's what I'm talking about.
Wrap this up. Shivam, send us to break. We've got another great series headed your way. Top Esports versus BLG, the best 2 teams in the LPL right now.